I think come 2026 time, United could have a midfield three consisting of 3 academy graduates. Mainoo is obviously now down to be there, but I think both Maxi Oyedele as well as Gore have the potential to be starters for United as well, if they are developed right. But right now, I fear that may not be happening, and I'll come on to exactly why after I analyse Oyedele and Gore individually. So why exactly do I rate both so highly? Well, the 19-year-old Maxi Oyedele has the exact profile that you would want in a modern day ball winner. Whereas Casemiro and Amrabat are slow and clunky when receiving the ball in pressurised situations, Oyedele, like Mainoo, has this natural fluidity in his movement, being able to receive possession, instantly get it under control, and very rarely losing possession, able to circulate the ball efficiently, whilst also having the passing range and vision to play progressive passes forward as well. Out of possession, Oyedele's qualities can be seen further, as his tall yet athletic build allows him to glide across the pitch, and he seems to have a natural instinct of where to put his body and how to win the ball back, making him the exact type of player you want as your holding ball winner in the midfield. The Nigerian-Polish youth international, who was born in Salford, isn't a deeper line playmaker, but like Mainoo, I see him being the sort of midfielder who's comfortable when dropping deep in the build-up phase and using his ball control, efficient passing and athletic ball carrying ability to progress the ball forward. Gore, on the other hand, is much more of a playmaker than a ball winner. Whereas I'd guess Oyedele is about 6 foot in height, around that, Gore is about 5'7", but his diminutive build gives him that low centre of gravity that allows him to wriggle out of pressure and drive away from challenges, having the ability to carry the ball through the centre of the pitch. But before I analyse Oyedele and Gore further and come on to how they would set up tactically alongside Mainoo in a midfield, you can check out my Patreon for extra content. I have just put out a Patreon podcast analysing Keane and Dewsbury Hall, and also if you like me prefer the retro jerseys to the current season ones, go over to Jersey FIFA. You can check out all their Manchester United retro jerseys through the 90s and 2000s, as well as from other club and international sites as well. You can use code Atlantis at checkout for a discount. A link will be in my Instagram bio, which I will leave linked in the description. Gore doesn't have the same defensive capabilities or physicality as either Oyedele or Mainoo, but you could argue that he has the potential to be the most creative of the three, being the type of player who can drop in front of the opposition's midfield line and dictate the tempo of the game via his short passing, whilst also being able to inject pace into the attack with a long switch of play or an incisive threaded pass between the lines. So how exactly would a midfield three of Oyedele, Mainoo and Gore look from a tactical point of view? And why exactly do I think the stylistics of this midfield three would work so well? Well, in terms of why I like the stylistics, is because each of the three not only have different attributes in which they excel, but they all have the fundamentals of what United should be looking for in central midfielders. Mainoo specialises when it comes to his press resistance and ball carrying through the centre of the pitch, whilst Oyedele's short passing efficiency in receiving possession, manoeuvring the ball away from pressure and then circulating it well is just as important. Whilst for Gore is his passing range, being able to hit those defence splitting through balls or long passes over the back line, making him the creator of the three. In a midfield three, Oyedele would definitely be the holding ball winner, Mainoo the ball carrier and Gore the playmaker. In the build-up phase, I think all three are capable of contributing to ball progression, which is important because it will enable United to use a greater system of rotation between the three, knowing that whilst Mainoo is certainly the player you want dropping deep to receive the ball on the edge of his own box with his back to goal, because of his seemingly elite level press resistance even at his young age, Gore and Oyedele definitely aren't liabilities in this area. Most often, like with Frankie de Jong at Barcelona, it will be Mainoo who drops into this deeper position as United are looking to build out. But whilst I don't see Oyedele being as good as Mainoo at receiving the ball under pressure and turning out before driving forward, he's still capable of holding on to the ball with composure, and instead of turning and driving the ball beyond the pressing line as Mainoo can, Oyedele's ball progression is going to come much more in the form of short, sharp 1 and 2 touch passes around the corner, with Gore also being able to provide this. In the middle third, I think all three are capable of dropping in front of the opposition's midfield line, with Mainoo and Gore being the two with the most responsibility in terms of ball progression. Mainoo through his dribbling and Gore through his passing, whilst I think Oyedele will excel in the role that Casemiro has been playing and to be honest struggling with this season, with Oyedele being required to sit behind the ball, circulate it quickly and efficiently when he receives it, but primarily being part of the rest defence, looking to position himself so that if there is a turnover and the opposition do look to counter, he is in the right position to utilise his athleticism to cover the ground and put in a tackle to break up the attack. Whilst I wouldn't define Gore or Mainoo as advanced midfielders like either Mount or Bruno Fernandes are, who you'd say primarily are going to be focused on creating chances in the final third, Gore and Mainoo are more players who will provide the assist for the assist, if that makes sense. If I had to compare all three to elite level central midfielders from a stylistic point of view, I think Mainoo you could compare to either Moussa Dembele or Clarence Seedorf, in the sense that he has the ball carrying ability to drive play forward, bypassing pressuring players in the centre of the pitch, while simultaneously being an incredibly effective retainer of possession, alongside having the athleticism and defensive capabilities of a ball winning midfielder out of possession as well, which I think gives him the versatility to play either as a deep single pivot at the base of a midfield, or alongside more of a natural holding midfielder like Oyedele. Oyedele on the other hand is more of a Gattuso Casemiro ball winner type, tidy and efficient in possession, but rather than having the passing range of Gore or the press resistance of Mainoo, Oyedele specialises in chasing attacking players down as they try to launch counter-attacks, being quick on his feet to anticipate and get to loose balls in the centre of the pitch, and all round being the man responsible for getting possession back as quickly as possible after it's lost. Dan Gore is more of what Paul Scholes was, not exactly the player you want in the rest defence, but similar to how I described Alex Garcia's role if he was signed in that video I did a week back or so, which I will leave linked in the description, where he would be the side's main creator from deeper positions. And in regards to Alex Garcia and Amadou Onana, the two central midfielders I suggested United sign this summer, I think Dan Gore and Maxi Oyedele would be perfect to play those backup roles to those two next season, with Oyedele like Onana being a ball winner, and Dan Gore like Garcia being a deeper lying creator. And for me, just like with a midfield of Mainoo and Onana either side of Garcia, I think a midfield of Mainoo and Oyedele either side of Gore is perfectly balanced. Playing as a regista, Gore has a freedom to drop into that single pivot position when United need him to provide creative passes in order to unlock compact defensive shapes, whilst also knowing that he has the freedom to push further forward when needed, having Oyedele who can come across and sit in that defensive midfield position behind the ball. But all round, I think all three of Mainoo, Oyedele and Gore are players who have the necessary technical ability to play in central midfield at the highest level, with Oyedele and Gore not being as complete as Mainoo, but having different skill sets which alongside Kobbie Mainoo work to provide United with everything they would need from a central midfield three, who can progress the ball out of pressure in the defensive third, whilst also controlling the game in the middle third, something that United haven't been able to do with Casemiro and Fernandes playing alongside Mainoo in the midfield three, with Casemiro declining massively this season from a technical point of view, and Bruno Fernandes being a creative forward who I think should be considered more as a part of the front three rather than the midfield three. Now obviously, given that we haven't really seen either Dan Gore or Maxi Oyedele play too much senior football, it's hard to gauge the less overt attributes in their game that could help them either thrive or struggle in a system that United would likely play. However, I do think that United could do a much better job of making sure that their younger players do develop these sorts of attributes. And I think this mainly comes down to the loan system. I think in general keeping players in the under 21s for too long or sending them on random loans to the lower leagues are the two biggest factors in why many talented academy graduates at United haven't been able to make the same jump that Garnacho and Mainoo have. Not every player is going to be able to go straight from the under 18s to the first team, but that doesn't mean they don't have the potential to be first team starters. And the reason I think both Dan Gore and Maxi Oyedele have stagnated this season is because of the loans they've been sent out on. Both went out on loan in January. Dan Gore went to Port Vale, and to be fair, it is injury that has hampered that loan spell. However, in the case of Maxi Oyedele, I think it's purely down to negligence and a lack of planning for United themselves. After all, they sent him out on loan to Forest Green, whose manager was Troy Deeney, who inevitably was sacked after 29 days. Steve Cottrell replaced him, and Oyedele has barely featured for Forest Green, and come the middle of March, it was reported that he was unofficially back at United now after not getting enough game time at Forest Green, a Forest Green side who are now rock bottom of League 2. I mean, sending him on loan to Forest Green in the first place is bad enough, but Forest Green under the management of Troy Deeney is diabolical. And I think this is down to United just not having a clear thought of strategy for how to progress players from the under 18s to the United first team, and I fear unless United change their youth structure, this could once again be the case for Gore and Oyedele next season, which if it does happen, would see both of those two in similar sort of positions to the ones that Zidane, Iqbal and even Laird found themselves in last season. And in a future video I'm going to come on to how I would set up an efficient youth system to develop players from the youth teams to the first team using the loan system and maybe a club network like the City Group have done with their clubs Girona and Troyes in France. And so if you are interested in seeing that video, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you do get notified when that video comes out.